Welcome to the Songwriter Connection podcast, where we look at the craft of songwriting through the eyes of a songwriter. Each week, we make a connection with a music maker, listen to their songs, and hear their stories. From Nashville, Tennessee, here's your host, Dave Lenihan.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you listening. Welcome to the podcast, Songwriter Connection. I am Dave. And, of course, you can find us on the socials, and I hope you'll do that. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. If you can't find it under Songwriter Connection Podcast, look for my name. It's Lenihan, Dave Lenihan. It's like lend a hand, but you drop the D's, Lenahan, and you'll find us out there. Like us and subscribe, if you will. If we're not friends on the social, let's be, okay? We are in Season 3, and this is Episode 6 already, so we're tooling right along, and we're getting really close to that 100,000 download mark, which is really a milestone for our humble little podcast, and I have you to thank for that, for spreading the word and getting it out there, so thank you so much. Another great guest today, a guy I've been really wanting to spend some time with. You know, I've been living in Music City for coming up on 9 years, and what we love to do most, we're into the songs. It's all about the songs, right? So we go to the various songwriting venues and we discover new music and new writers. It's one of my favorite things to do. I love hearing, as we've said in the past, songs performed by the people who wrote them. These little 3.5 minute masterpieces, and it takes a lot to get on stage and share those babies with other people, so I always appreciate that. And I'm always discovering new people, or people that have been around that I should have known, that I'm almost ashamed that I didn't know. And our guest is one of those people today. I'd go to a round and I'd hear a great song, and the artist would say afterwards, yes, a song I wrote with Bill Diluigi. Or they'd start the song by going, Bill Diluigi and I were talking about this idea, and this is what we came up with. And I was like, man, I got to run into this Bill guy. He's something else. Got to get him on the podcast eventually. So, but very recently, I had a chance to see him for the first time. There's a little pub around the corner from where I live in Hermitage called the 12 Keys Saloon. They're a beer joint with a music problem, as they call it. And I first saw Bill there perform. And again, I'm like, yeah, like where have I been, right? Everybody knows this guy in this town. And he absolutely was worth the wait. He blew me away. And since then, I had a chance to play in the round with him one time next to him and see the genius up close. So let me tell you a little bit about Bill Diluigi, okay? Over 300 cuts. And I imagine by now that's short.
It might be an old bio. Yeah.
It might be like 400 or 500 by now. But cuts from like Lone Stars, Richie McDonald, Blessed Union of Souls. I was very familiar with them in Cincinnati.
Yeah. Great rock band.
Yeah, they really are. A Covenant Award winner, and that's equivalent to Canada's Dove Award.
Same as the Dove Award here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Song you wrote with Judy Pastor, right?
Actually, it was, yeah. And a guy named Sean Spicer, who was not in politics. There's another
different
guy named
Sean Spicer. Gotcha. All right. Judy, of course, a past guest in Season 2. So if you haven't heard Judy's, check that out. She's got great music. Also a Juno Award nominee. That's, again, that's like the Canadian Grammy, right? Yeah. You've had songs in films and TV. I'd like to talk to you about that. We've talked in the past about sync and how that works. Really impressive is Grand Prize Song Contest winners of the American Songwriter Magazine in 2012. That's quite an honor. And the CMT NSAI Song Contest in 2013. Yep. They just don't give those out. That's amazing stuff right there.
They're pretty picky.
They're pretty picky, yeah. So I was listening to Bill's record, Pennsylvania Avenue, this morning, his most recent, and here's my impression. I think, and I don't know if I heard this somewhere or if we're coining a new phrase. I'd like to think we're coining a new phrase, but I must say that I think Bill is a song painter. And here's what I mean. He uses words and melodies to make his stories come to life. And his canvas is your mind, right in between your ears. And through those words and melodies, that picture is painted, and you feel like you're just a part of that story and observing what's happening. And that's a rare talent. It really is. He's a songwriter is what I like to say, is because he's the kind of songwriter you listen to in a round. If you're a songwriter and you go, dang, if only, right? I'm going to go home and chop up all my guitars. So anyway, Bill Diluigi, thanks for being on the show. I appreciate you bringing your guitar, your music, your talents to the dining room table. Good to have you here, man.
My pleasure. Good to be here, Dave. Good to be here.
Good to have you here. We always like to start with a song. So would you start with one and then we'll talk about it? Yeah.
Well, I'll just play the song and we can talk about it after.
That sounds good to me.
All right. It's a song I wrote with my friends Chantel Ogden and Markham Stewart. Ooh, yeah. ever take a back road, not caring where it goes, just because you can? Did you ever press rewind to the best days of your life, knowing you're a lucky man? Did you ever watch the sunrise over the mountains or the coastline? This is your life, this is my life. Work hard, play hard, 1 heart, 50 stars. It's about us, so raise your hands up. Big city, small town, we're all country proud. Sing along to the great American song. When you were a little kid, well, did you ever dream big and try on your mama's boots? Then somewhere down the road, find dreams of your own catching up to you. Aren't you glad that you're living free? You can be anything you wanna be. Yeah. This is your life, this is my life. Work hard, play hard, 1 heart, 50 stars. It's about us, so raise your hands up. Big city, small town, we're all country proud. Sing along to the great American song. It's more than fireworks in the sky, the anthem or the stars and stripes. It's who we are way down deep inside. This is your life, this is my life. Work hard, play hard, 1 heart, 50 stars. It's about us, so raise your hands up. Big city, small town, we're all country proud. Sing along to the great American song. Yeah, sing along. Great American song. Great American song.
Oh, yeah. Bill Diluigi on the Songwriter Connection podcast, The Great American Song. To me, it's a song of unity. No matter where you're from, country, city, whatever, what kind of music you like, we're all Americans, and it's about that, right?
Yeah, actually, what happened was we were writing with a friend of mine. We probably wrote this in probably 2010 or something, a guy named Markham Stewart, who at the time had a duo called Ackland Park, and I think we were writing songs for his record. And Chantel happened to be in the living room, and it was an American Songwriter magazine or something. I don't know if it was American Songwriter. It was some magazine that said, The Great American Song Contest. And we thought, wow, why don't we write The Great American Song? So yeah, that's how the title came out. This song has been used in more things than any other song I've ever had.
Yeah.
So it's been in, it was featured in Heart of Dixie a few times, a show on CW Network.
Great.
The Heart of Dixie. It's been in sports events. It pops up everywhere. It popped up a couple weeks ago on Fox and Friends. Somebody used it for a feature. It just keeps, it's the gift that keeps giving.
On giving, right? Well, that's great.
As they say.
And for us listening too, so it's a great song. Yeah.
Thanks.
Let's talk a little bit about you, Bill, from the Philadelphia area originally, right?
From the Philadelphia area. Was up there. And was in the rock and roll end of things. We had a big rock band, and we were kind of regional. We had a producer in New York City. We cut tracks up there. We played all in the Northeast, and came close to a record deal, but never got one. So that all crashed and burned around the turn of the century, and that began my path to Nashville, so to speak.
You got here like 05, did I read?
I got here in 05, yes. I started visiting in 03. I had a friend up there who was big in publishing in Nashville. He passed away this year. His name's Jim Femino.
Jim Femino, yes. Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
What a great
songwriter.
Great guy.
And a great guy, yeah.
We miss Jim. But he would do these little things, kind of what they do here in Nashville. Like on a Sunday, you come over, from noon to 5 or something, and they'd have pizza and snacks, and we talk about the craft of songwriting.
Love it.
And so I started doing that stuff, and at some point Jim said, if you really wanted to try, I think you have the ability to write songs for other people, which I never tried. Mm-hmm. At that point, I had always just written songs for the bands I was in.
That's a different concept. You used to write for you and your band, and all of a sudden, you got to think about other people, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure that was something I was interested in or how that all worked, but, I had all these songs, and I'd written songs since I was a kid, so I was like, well, let's try it, know? So eventually Jim talked me into coming. And so in 2003, he said, why don't you go down like once every 3 months? I'll help you out, get you some people to write with. And that's what I did. I did that for 2 years. And
then, down writing with folks. And
then after 2 years, I decided to make the move. So, yeah.
Kind of the same thing with me. And I've heard that story. But you've had a lot of success. You really grew as a songwriter. Did you have to learn new concepts coming from let me backtrack just a little bit and say, we've talked in this show in the past about how I hate putting people into genres, right?
Right.
But you've written for all types of music.
Pretty much, yeah.
So did it really change how you structured your songs coming here and writing for this new audience, so to speak?
It did. Of course, when you're in your hometown and you have a really big band, rock band, and you think you're really great, and your songs are the best, and then you get here and you're like, oh wow. When people start listening to your songs and they start pointing things out, and you go
with a critical ear,
and with an ear towards commercial music and for
can we make money on this?
Can we make money? And also, are there enough people that might want to say that in particular? Because it didn't matter when you're writing for your band. You're like, I want to write a song about that orange tree because it's so cool. And you're like, okay, well, it's your band.
That's right. Absolutely.
So it did change the way I started trying to learn how to write songs and going to, I remember going to places like NSAI and BMI. They would have Jason Bloom's seminar at BMI. Then they'd have a publisher night at NSAI where everybody would bring a verse and a chorus in, and the publisher would, listen to it and pick it apart, tell you what he thought was working or she thought was working or wasn't working. And I never took those things into consideration, so I just kind of absorbed it. And I went out, like you said, to writers' nights, and I heard some like really amazing songs. And I just like looking at other people's processes and how they put things together. And it opened my mind, and it gave me more tools, I think.
This town will definitely do that to you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And it's about tools to put in your toolbox. It's not about rules. I mean, at first I was taken aback, like, well, you're telling me I can't do this and I can't do that. They're just giving you guidelines. And once you learn all that, when you can break the rules on purpose and make something interesting. And, so it did, yeah. To answer that question, it really changed, especially the lyric end of it.
Yeah. What do you think is the most valuable tool that you've got in your box?
Well, gosh, there's so much stuff, but I think I really try. There's a couple things that are key with me. Be honest, not fabricate as much as possible. Even if it is a fabricated story, maybe it's something I've experienced. Maybe it's characters I know that have different names. So try
element of truth, right?
Try to tell the truth. Try to and be honest and be gut level honest and not be fairy tale saccharine about things, like how things really work out in the real world. That's what I do. I think description's pretty important. However you paint the picture, however you decide to paint the picture, to make sure there is a picture.
Oh yeah.
For me, anyway. Because I want to know. I want to be there. I want to see it. I want to smell it. I want to taste it.
And your songs do that. Let me say,
thank you.
They really do. They really do.
I strive for that.
I read something in American Songwriter magazine, an article about your philosophy of making music. A lot of times today, the publishers, or you get together with guys in the write and you're like, who are we going to write for today? We're going to write for this specific cause. And your philosophy seems to me more about writing a good song. Yeah. And then it's going to find its home. Am I right? Is it?
I think we try to write Yeah, we try to. I mean, this is cliche, but it's true. It's everybody. We try to write the song that's in the room.
Mm-hmm.
So
in the room, yeah. Been hearing that a lot lately.
So like, if I'm writing with a female artist or a male artist for that matter, and they're making a record, the first thing we'll do is talk. Like, what's going on in your life? Are you in love? Are you happy in love? Are you stupid in love? Are you angry in love? Did you just break up with someone? What's going on in your family? Like, we try to sort of tap into whatever we're really feeling, and then that like people go, wow, that's real. Wow, I can feel that. So that's an important thing. And of course, to write the best song. I mean, we are pitch oriented, but it's a mistake to go, especially, for example, if you're going to be writing for Jason Aldean. Well, Jason Aldean has his own publishing company, and he's got guys that work there. So anything you're going to hear that Aldean's already done, that stuff, they're probably going to write that. So a lot of times the gatekeepers and the producers will say, send me something that's so left of center you'd never think of it for Jason Aldean, or so-and-so. So sometimes you just write a really great song that's like way left, and they go, I'd never thought to write that. So, writing the best song is better than... Because they already have all that stuff.
In that article I read, I don't know if this was your words or theirs, they said the philosophy was about writing first and money second.
Okay, that might have been. Yeah, I think that was it. I think that was mine.
Yeah,
that's what I used to ask people. People ask me people say, and I get called up all the time. Hey, can we go to breakfast? My nephew just moved there. And wants advice on songwriting. Yeah, and that's the first thing I say is like, well, if you had your choice of, like, if somebody said you can have all the money you're ever going to need, and there's only one condition: you can never write a song. Yeah. So let me know if you can say I'd take the money, then you probably need to find another profession. If you say I couldn't take the money, that kind of weeds them out. That is
that's a really good point. Yeah. Do you have a passion for this? And obviously you do have that passion.
I do. I couldn't not do it. I don't think.
Yeah. Well, good. I want to hear another song. When we come back, I want to talk about, so you want to be a songwriter. I want to talk about like a typical day in the life. Okay. How you schedule your stuff and how it's done. But if we can first hear another one.
Let's do it.
What you got there?
Well, coincidentally enough, the song's called I'm Ready. So Are you ready to be a songwriter? Are you ready? There's a lot in this song that's about, it could be about songwriting, it could be about finding a career in the aerospace industry or being whatever you want to be, but this is kind of the way life goes. I spent a lifetime reliving all my yesterdays. Slipped off every lifeline straight into the arms of my mistakes. But I swear I'll find forgiveness if this old haunted heart will let me. Well, I'm ready. Yeah, I've been a toast of this town, been the joke of this place. I've watched the boot heels of my friends kicking dust in my face. But my wounds have turned to scars, and my hands and my aim are steady, and I'm ready. So take your shot, give me what you got. Ain't nothing I ain't seen before. This time around, I won't back down. Bring it on, then bring a little more. That hurricane I heard was pouring steady. It's time I let it go and break the levee. And I'm ready. I'm ready. If life gave me a dime for every time that it threw me off course, I'd put up $1 million on a sure bet I'd get back on that horse. find redemption where the sun is setting. I've had dreams of a land of plenty, and I'm ready. So take a shot, give me what you got. Ain't nothing I ain't seen before. This time around I won't back down. Bring it on, then bring a little more. That hurricane I heard was pouring steady. This time I let it go and break the levee. Oh, and love will never let me run on empty, even if this world's out to get me. Well, I'm ready, I'm ready. I'm ready, I'm ready. Well, I'm ready, yeah. Well, I'm ready, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Bill Diluigi sharing songs around the old dining room table on the Songwriter Connection podcast. I am ready. You know, so many times as songwriters sit down and we're trying to find that elusive hook or to write to, and then you get something as simple as I'm ready and make a great story out of it. That's just fantastic. That's genius is what it is. Yeah.
That's kind of the life of a songwriter, everything we're talking about there.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're the toast of town, sometimes you're the joke of this place.
Yeah.
And the elevator goes up and the elevator comes down.
It comes back down, doesn't it? Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely. Yeah. Are you running with a publishing company at this time? Talk a little bit about that and how that works and who are you with these days?
So I'm with a company called Lucky Sky Music.
Lucky Sky.
And they opened up during the pandemic, right after the pandemic, January 2020, and I was the first. Great
time to start a new business, huh?
Yeah. I was wondering, I mean, a friend of mine, Kirsty Manna, who's a hit songwriter.
Didn't she write, what was it?
She wrote Austin for Blake, and she wrote Big and Rich. She had one with Big and Rich. But
Awesome writer.
We had been friends for years and written a lot of songs together and had some songs recorded together and movies and artists. And she said, man, if I ever get to a position of publishing, you're gonna be the first writer I sign. And sure enough,
that's high praise.
They did. And in March, I was thinking, I kept asking, March, you guys gonna do this? April, you guys still gonna do this? Because nobody knew what was going on right then, in 2020. Yeah. Mm-hmm. They said, yeah, we're doing it. So it's been good. We've had a year and a half now on this particular one. We got we've had some films, had lots of small cuts, probably 100 films. We got Craig Morgan cut coming out. We've got a lot of good stuff on the way. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's great.
It's been a good year and a half.
Yeah. Is there, as you see, because I know you've done it both ways, self-published and writing for a publisher. What do you feel are the advantages either way?
Well, both ways, have their things. If you're writing for a publisher, then you have a guaranteed income, like you can count on so much money.
You get a draw, right?
You get a draw against what you earn, so you can, it's like a little bit of a relief. Mm-hmm. And the good thing about that is, you can get better rights because everybody's,
That's right
in the same community, and we're all trying together to get cuts. So they can be helpful in that way. If you don't have a publishing deal, then the conversely, because I've had both. So my first publishing deal was with a good friend who was the same situation, Melissa Balea. She has a great little company called Rhyme Partners. Mm-hmm. And I was independent, and she signed me, and we were there for 4 years, and we had some good success. And then I was independent again for 3 years, and I went to Lucky Sky. The thing about being independent is you retain all your publishing.
Yeah.
So if you can, so I've got several catalogs now that different ones. This person owns a piece or that, and some I own myself. So you retain all your revenue. So if you have enough revenue to get by, then you don't need to give up your half of your revenue stream.
Listening wherever you are, car, home, computer, if you're not familiar with how songwriters are paid, it's simply this. There's two halves of the pie. There's the publisher, the publishing set, and then the songwriter. And the publisher gets 50% of that.
Yeah.
So I think I've read somewhere it's like 9.1 cents per play or per if it's sold, it's called mechanical.
Right.
Like on a CD or record, which people aren't buying a lot of these days.
Right.
But publisher takes 50% of that. And then if you co-wrote the song with one other person, you have 50% of that.
Exactly.
So, so that's the disadvantage. If you're with a publisher, they're going to take their publishing.
Right.
If you're independent, you get your publishing. And there are all kinds of stories that you could find out there of lucky songwriters that were in the right place at the right time. The artist wanted the deal. They said, is there a publishing contract on this? No, I have my own publishing. And boom, all of a sudden you're getting 100% of the pie.
Yeah.
And if it's a big song and a big record that ships a lot of songs, boy, that's a big payday, isn't it?
Significant. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So I just wanted to explain that further.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. With a publisher now, do they set up writing appointments, or you still set your own appointments?
Both.
How does that work?
It's both.
It's both?
Yeah, so they'll set me up some, and I'll set up some of my own. You
Right.
know, I've been doing this so long and have been used to being independent for a lot of years that there's certain ones I'll go back to, especially for film and television.
Sure, I bet. Yeah.
That I constantly get action in and stuff like that, or writers that I really like, or artists that are always end up recording my songs.
Oh, yeah.
So we do it both ways.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's good to write with the artist today, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I'd say 85% of the cuts I ever had,
Yeah.
probably written with the artist, and the other 15 were pitched from the
Same
outside.
here. Yeah, same here. It's good if you can get in the room with an artist.
Yeah,
One
absolutely.
one that's really going after it and has the talent. So that's what we all try to do.
Yes.
And guess what? Here in Music City, there are a lot of young, talented people that come in every single day, right, Bill?
And that's the truth.
Yeah.
I mean, the talent level just keeps going up and up, from what I can tell.
Yeah.
I mean, wow,
It's something, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody like that you wrote with in the past that just blew you away and
There was let's see. Yeah, there's been a lot of people that I wrote with along the way that, I mean, Walker Hayes was one.
Walker Hayes.
Wow.
Fancy here's a guy that was a 20-year overnight success right
Exactly.
there. Yeah.
He worked so hard.
He really did, didn't he?
And it was the first time I wrote with him. We wrote a really great song called "I Didn't."
Wow.
And I was like, this guy is just really talented in a fresh way. And he was in between. He had been on the radio, and then it was kind of like nothing was going on, and then he blew up. I wrote with Maddie and Tay way back before they did anything, and now they're very successful. They also went through the thing where were they going to keep going or not, and then all of a sudden they did Carry On with tour or whatever, and now they're back. And
a lot of times you just got to stick with it, right?
Yeah, it's up and down.
Yeah, it's up and down.
It's like I'm ready, like the song. You have to make up a determination you're going to do it, and you don't know which way it's going to go.
Are you ready?
But
is that song available? Is it out there?
Yeah, actually, I wrote that with Mason. I forgot to say Mason Douglas. If you know
Mason
Mason,
Douglas?
who just got a Kid Rock cut.
Wow.
A couple weeks ago. Good on you, Mason. That song was recorded a couple times. It was recorded by a woman named Simone Reyes, and she's got a big following. She's like a vegan activist in California.
Oh, okay.
And it's a really odd story. Simone was part of the hip hop culture.
Yeah.
She worked for like Def Jam and
Wow.
wherever there was in Compton and all that stuff. She was in the hip hop industry for years, working inside, not as an artist, and in the back office. And then, but she always had a love of country music. So recently, she wanted to do a country record. So she recorded the song. You can find it out there under Simone Reyes.
Check it out.
It was a great video she did. And somebody in New Zealand cut it too, but I don't know how available that one is.
Now you say New Zealand. I also saw you've had hits in Australia.
I have.
Tell us about that experience. And you traveled and played in Australia.
I have, yes. Yeah. Australia is a great place. I went there a couple times. I went there in like in 2008, I think it was, for the first time. 2007 or 2008, and went back another year. And met a lot of good people over there. Started writing with some of their artists. There's basically one record label over there for the country, ABC Records.
ABC, huh?
So then once I started getting one or two songs recorded, when I came back home, ABC would send me all their artists.
Oh, nice.
So I had several Cuts in Australia. I had 2 hits and
That's
a lot
great.
of cuts.
Wow.
It's a great place to go. I mean, I'd love to go back there. It's a long drive.
Yeah, I guess. I've got a really good friend here that was also on the podcast in season 1, Michael Saletta, that we write with a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Michael's such a talented guy.
Yeah.
And trying to get here permanently, but right now he'll come for a few months and have to go back home, and then it comes back. But just a great songwriter. So what a cool experience. Yeah. Well, I'd love to hear another song, and then we come back and we talk a little bit about some of these sync in TV and film.
Absolutely.
Because that is a very lucrative market these days. Seems like all the songwriters are chasing sync.
Absolutely.
We'll talk about that. We can also talk about alternate tunings, probably.
I use Drop D a lot.
Drop D is a lot, yeah.
But I use Dad a lot, which is DAD.
Wow.
And, the less options you have sometimes, the better it is.
Yeah, I hear you. But sometimes a different tuning gives you a different feel and a different mood and different ideas, flows.
Wrote this, since it's Ash Wednesday.
Yeah.
I'll play this song. It's called "We See Jesus," and I wrote this with a couple of hit songwriter producers, Billy Montana, who wrote "Suds in the Bucket," and also Phil O'Donnell, who has just a ton of hits.
Awesome.
And I don't know, we just got together one morning, and this song sort of just took over the room. We see homeless, we see addiction, look down our noses, right past our own condition. We see color, we see race, we see religion. How would it be if we could just see Jesus? We see hatred, we see division, we see justice through the bars of our own prison. Blinded by walls of pride around our vision. How would it be if we could just see Jesus in a stranger? See Jesus in a neighbor, in the way we love each other, like a friend and like a brother. Oh, what if we could see the way he sees us? How would it be if we could just see Jesus? We see hopeless, we see hurting, we see hopeless in a future that's uncertain. We read all the words and read in all the verses. How would it be if we could just see Jesus in a stranger? See Jesus in a neighbor, in the way we love each other, like a friend and like a brother. Oh, what if we could see the way he sees us? How would it be if we could just see Jesus? How would it be if we could just see Jesus?
That is one of those songs. We're going to talk about it with Bill Diluigi, our guest, on the Songwriter Connection, right after this short break.
Awesome.
You're listening to the Songwriter Connection, connecting with music makers and hearing their songs and stories. Now back to the show with your host, Dave Linehan.
Well, I'm so glad you joined us once again. Bill Diluigi is our guest on the Songwriter Connection. And Bill, that was a fantastic song. You just see Jesus. And you wrote that with Billy Montana?
Billy Montana
Big
and,
writer.
and Phil O'Donnell.
And Phil O'Donnell. I've seen him before. He's also a producer too, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. He produced a ton of...
Is that Phil Billy?
Yeah, Phil Billy.
Phil Billy, everybody calls him. Those are some great writers there. And I remember when Billy Montana was an artist, playing him on the radio back in the day.
Oh, yeah. He had a couple of record deals. I think.
He sure did. And some really, really good songs.
Yeah.
How about that one? Is that relatively new? Is that one we can hear find it anywhere? Or?
It's not. It hasn't been cut yet. We got a couple people that talked about cutting it. And actually, I'll see those guys tomorrow. I'll find out what's going on.
Yeah.
But we had a couple.
They better pick it up or somebody else is going to, right?
I hope so. I think the vision would be cool if like a bunch of country artists did it and everybody sang a line.
Yeah, like a We Are the World kind of thing.
That would be awesome.
It's needed right now, that song. So you never know. Put us in the room. You and Phil Billy in Montana writing that song. Put us in the room.
So actually, this was our first office. Lucky Sky was over at the old firehouse. So it's on 2nd Avenue. It was built in like 1890. It's a really cool old fire station.
Wow.
And we had the whole second floor up there. And it's real high brick walls and ceilings. Anyway, what happened, it's a long story. So me and Billy...
I just have to interject because that's my brain. I'm scanner brain.
Yeah.
But when you say 2nd Avenue, that's where the explosion was on Christmas a couple years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Was that building hurt in that? Or
no, we were not. We were all the way up at Lafayette.
Okay.
So we're...
Yeah, okay. You were pretty on the other side.
On the other
way
side.
Other side. Okay. Anyway, I digress. I just had to...
No worries. So we were having we have this little Zoom Bible study, and it's a bunch of guys like that in music business. And Phil said something about if we could just see Jesus. So like I texted Phil after, and I'm like, hey, can we write that? And he goes, Billy Montana already texted me. He's like, well, I guess the three of us will have to write it.
Oh boy!
So when a good idea, if you're a good songwriter, your antennas go up.
Write that down. There's a note for you.
Always put it in your phone. Put it in your phone.
Oh, yeah.
Don't go, I'll remember later. Don't do that.
Like 4 days later, you're going, God, it was a great idea. What was that again? Right away, write it down.
Do it right away.
Yeah.
So we just, we sat down to write it. I always say a little prayer before every session. Man, it just came into the room really fast. We just tried to get out of its way and get it right.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's one of them.
One of them.
Yeah.
Wrote it in 10 minutes. No, but you hear that a lot.
It was probably about 90 minutes.
Yeah. That's a good session.
Yeah.
It doesn't always happen that way.
I know it.
There's a lot of times you sit in that room, you do a lot of co-staring, I'll bet.
Yeah. I don't think we changed it. We didn't change a word of it.
No.
At the end. We didn't go back and rewrite anything. It just kind of came out. And
that's rare.
Didn't change an and, an if, or a but, or,
Because I've always heard, and there's a lot of truth to that, a lot of great songs are rewritten, not written, right? But when they come out like that, and you look at them and there's not a thing you want to change, man, that's a song. Absolutely.
Grateful for that.
Yeah, I bet you are. Yeah. Well, I'd love to hear another one.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, yeah. Let me tune this thing.
Sure. We're allowed tuning on this. Songwriter Connection podcast, by the way. It publishes every Wednesday. We do it 2 o'clock in the morning, Central Time, Nashville time. And we do that so you can have a cup of coffee in the morning on Wednesday and hear the new podcast each and every Wednesday. So this one we are definitely recording on Ash Wednesday. It publishes, though, on April the 27th. So we hope that you're enjoying it, and we hope that you'll spread the word about Songwriter Connection. Bill Diluigi is our guest.
Right. Mm-hmm. So this song, I've been writing songs for other people, and then I decided, it's almost 3 years ago, to do my own little record, and I know you have a copy of it.
I do.
It's called Pennsylvania Avenue. That's
Great
the street
record.
I grew up on.
Uh-huh.
And it's available everywhere, and so it's all songs I wrote by myself that all had some kind of, most of them are just true stories or had some kind of meaning to me. And I happened to be on this reality show about 4 years ago that never aired. It ended up the pilot never got taken anyway. It was one of those things, and Lisa Loeb was involved, and Sister Hazel, a bunch of alternative 90s bands were involved. But anyway, I was one of the contestants, and I had just found out I wasn't, I was eliminated from the thing, and I was sitting in a park in Muncie, Indiana, and it was raining. And there was all these wet blackbirds flying around. And this is kind of the song that came out. It's on the record. It's called Blackbird Wings. Ooh, ooh, na. Ooh, ooh, na na na. We left a long line of days laying in the sun. The blackbirds came and they stole everyone. Now I can't find my way back to you. What am I gonna do with these blackbirds in my head, blackbirds in my bed, pecking at my heart with a vengeance? Did I mention how I hate to hear them sing? Nothing brings me down like blackbird wings. Ooh, ooh, na na na. Ooh, ooh, na na na. Your sugar salty kiss, the letters of your name, the words I set free and the ones you couldn't say are flying at the window that I shut in my brain, and I throw it open every time. Till there's blackbirds in my head, yeah, blackbirds in my bed, pecking at my heart with a vengeance. All those blackbirds out of tune, blackbirds by the moon, scratching at the stars in heaven. Did I mention how I hate to hear them sing? Nothing brings me down like blackbird wings. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Blackbirds in my head, yeah, blackbirds in my bed, 4 and 20, 24/7. All those blackbirds out of tune, blackbirds by the moon, scratching at the stars in heaven. Did I mention how I hate to hear them sing? Nothing brings me down like blackbird wings. Ooh, ooh, na na na. Ooh, ooh, na na na. Oh yeah. Ooh, ooh, na na na. Ooh, ooh, na na na.
Blackbird Wings. You hate him. How do you feel about Paul McCartney?
If you notice, I did a little Beatles tribute.
You did. I did notice that. That's fantastic. In the key of Blackbird. It's just really awesome. I want to talk to you about sync and film too.
Sure.
But first, I've got to ask you talked about the album Pennsylvania Avenue. Listening again this morning, and there's a song that just rips my heart out. And I've got to ask you about it. Jenny from Mountain City.
Oh yeah, that's a really true story.
It is a true story.
It certainly is. And,
wow.
Yeah, I mean, it was a friend of mine who I had lost touch with for many years, and I found out later that this had happened to her. That her neighbor, who was strung out on drugs, came over, and Jenny was trying to help the neighbor, and the neighbor decided to rob Jenny. And, that's what happened. It was on 2020 and all that. It was a big national case.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, sad story. She was the sweetest person. So sweet and would do anything. It's all true. Every word in that song is true. Yeah.
I encourage you to get the album and listen. So you understand what we're talking about. It is very well written and a very poignant story. Yeah.
True story.
Maybe we can even talk you out of playing that later. I hate to put you on the spot.
I probably don't know the words to that one right now.
And that's okay. But I've been known on this show to ask for songs that people aren't ready to play.
No worries.
So I apologize. That is my bad. And people don't realize when you write hundreds of songs, in a year, they pile up. And every now and then you just got to take some time and look through and go, boy, I got to learn that song. I should, because you don't always know. And you can't memorize them all. Unfortunately, even though they're all your babies, you just have to take stock sometime. And
absolutely.
The ones that stick with you, that you like to play a lot, those are usually the ones, there's a reason for that.
If you can remember all your songs, you haven't written enough songs yet.
I've heard it said
that much
that
I
way.
can say.
There is this double-edged sword with songwriters. There are the kind that have to have all their lyrics on the either on their phone or on a music stand, and then there are ones, and I kind of fall into this philosophy that I may fall in love with a song that I've recently written, Bill, and want to play it all the time, but I refuse to do that until it's really stuck in my head and that I really know how to play it and get through it and perform it well. And then I've had people go, well, so I don't ever use a stand or because my philosophy has been if I can't play it out and do a good job, it's not ready yet, But then I've had people go from the other side, well, maybe you just aren't writing enough songs, man, brother. That's your problem, So I see both sides of it. I really do. So lately, every now and then, I'll pull out my phone and we put everything on Google Docs. So I just pull up that. It's there just as backup.
And then again, if you write a song with a female artist called "I Hate My Boyfriend," you're probably not going to sing that out of the writer's room.
That's so true. I've been writing a lot with a young artist who I absolutely adore. Her name is Dakota Danielle. Maybe we'll get her on that show sometimes. She is just something else. And we wrote a song again, and it's a song I love, and I want to play it out, but it doesn't make sense for a guy to sing that song. But yeah, I know how you feel. Now, you've had a lot of success writing for songs on movies and film and TV.
Yes,
and that's a whole different area of songwriter that a lot of writers are pursuing these days. That is, it's sync for synchronization, and there's money in that, huh? And that pays right away. You don't have to rate the royalties. They negotiate that, and boom, you get your check, right?
Well, you do get usually get a fee up front, and then the performance royalty comes later when it airs.
Yeah.
But I came into it really just accidentally, kind of. I started when I started out. I was this was one of my independent times, and I was working with a couple of artists who actually were in a couple of movies, and then they started to use their songs in the movies, and I saw what that paid, and I was like, ooh, I like this. I need to research this more. So I did. I tried to get on the inside and learn and take seminars and meet people and do everything I could do. I did instrumental music, and I did there's not as many placements for country music, although they're out there. It's more other genres, and so I just studied it over the years and made some connections and with some different TV shows, and I still do a lot of that. I have a couple coming out this year.
Tell us about it.
There's a new movie called The Author coming out, and I have 3 songs in that one with an artist named Ashton Brooke Gill. Mm-hmm. And then there's a new Left Behind series coming out. This one's called Left Behind, The Rise of the Antichrist. So it's like the rapture, the middle of the rapture. I remember it was really big. The guy from
Kirk
Cameron did the original ones. So it's a follow-up to that, and I've got 3 songs in there with a artist named Ella Hart from Canada. Wow. And I still get quite a bit of that stuff.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm active with that.
Very good. Well, we're running out of time, but I'd love to hear one more song, Bill. And,
sure.
And again, thank you from the bottom of my heart for spending some time with us today. And
my pleasure.
Opening our eyes a little bit as to the world of a published songwriter. Drop D again.
Back to drop D.
You're just taking that 6th string, which is normally an E, and dropping it down to D, and it gives you that nice swampy sound.
So this song is, I know you'll relate to this one, Dave, or anybody that ever took a guitar and that's all you wanted to do, and you took it in your room or in the basement, or if you were a singer and you just used your hairbrush microphone. And it's kind of about that. Jammed in the basement with a Fender basement amps. Smoke sticking to her clothes. You could smell the carpet was damp. A long-haired blue jean band of misfit souls. The hometown refugees of rock and roll. Our teenage hot-wired hearts beat so hard it hurt. Tried to find relief, but nothing much worked. Played our first gig like it was the Hollywood Bowl. On the kick drum it said, Refugees of rock and roll. And we'd play all day and all night long. It was all like one long song. We did it for peace and love and to change the world. We did it 'cause we didn't make the team to get the girls. We did it 'cause the volume was the only thing we could control. The joyful noise of the refugees of rock and roll. And we'd play all day and all night long. It was all like one long song. Last night I walked to the bandstand in Echo Park. It all came back like a long summer kiss in the dark. For a minute I let that memory swallow me whole, like a shipwrecked refugee of rock and roll. And we play all day and all night long. It was all like one long song. And we play all day and all night long. It was all right, even when we got it wrong. And we play all day and all night long.
Wow. A shipwrecked refugee. That's wonderful.
Shipwrecked refugee of rock and roll.
That's right. And aren't we all? And I love how you throw the riffs in there because, that's what it's all about when you got your first electric guitar. How many riffs could you learn?
Yeah.
These classic songs.
You kidding me?
So you brought it right in there. That's awesome. Where can we find Bill Diluigi music and more on you, my friend?
Okay, so there's it's just my name is on Instagram, same Bill Diluigi, Diluigi.
It's Irish, right?
That's totally. It's that little tip with a boot in Ireland.
Yeah.
And then it's on Facebook. It's just Bill Diluigi. There's a Bill Diluigi Songwriter page on Facebook, but I don't maintain it.
Okay.
And then there's a website with
Yeah.
my name also, BillDiluigi.com. So
great. Check it
I'm
out.
the only Bill Diluigi in the world that I know of. So.
Hope you've discovered, if you've not discovered Bill before, you have now. And I hope you'll check out that music and check it out. Well, that song I was telling you about from Pennsylvania Avenue, about Jenny from the mountain. So good stuff. Bill, thanks again for joining us.
My pleasure.
Great to have you there. Great to get to know you a little bit better and have you on the show.
Thank you, Dave. It was my pleasure.
All future success your way, my friend. Big fan.
Thank you for listening to the Songwriter Connection podcast. Find us on social media at Songwriter Connection. Also, listen to Dave Lanahan's Nashville Connections radio show. It streams live every Friday morning on WOBL and WNOI. Look for us on Facebook and YouTube. See you next time on Songwriter Connection.